see if this is working properly. All right, we're live. Cool. Welcome to the very first Join Web Zero stream about how to be successful at hackathons. In particular, we're going to talk about the upcoming hackathon happening in Berlin next month. So real quick, I'm Sasha. I'm here to present the hackathon for people that are planning to come, people that are maybe interested in coming. And this stream is really just about outlining how you can be successful at this hackathon. But before that, I just want to touch a little bit about our plans with Web Zero, with this streaming platform. This is the very first stream that we do, and we're really stoked to be able to provide a platform for developers to share also what they're building at the events that we host. So what is Web Zero? Web Zero is a events and developer relations company primarily focused on moving the needle in the Polkadot ecosystem around creating engaging events for developers, primarily centered around building cool things in Web3. And for that, we actually invite a whole bunch of different ecosystems to participate in our events in order to give developers the most options, really, in terms of what they're building and curious to build. So Web Zero has a presence across the continent, in Europe, across North America, and we do events to foster the developer community, as well as other people interested in building in Web3. And that can be like people in marketing, people in business development. That doesn't have to be always developers. So what I work on is the DevRel side of things at Web Zero. I also am really into building things myself. Like, I love to create new things with new libraries. I also like to create libraries. So if you guys have like questions on that, like I'm always here and around to answer some questions. Prior to working with Web Zero, I was actually working with Parity Technologies. Parity is the company that launched Polkadot. And in that time, when I joined, I was helping a lot with developer onboarding and really teaching people how to use the Polkadot SDK and what they could be building on Polkadot. So yeah, this is fun actually for me, because it's the first time since I was at Parity where I used to do streaming over there, where I would host builders in the ecosystem, highlighting what they do, and trying to build a community, trying to build the developer community around building on Polkadot. So with this stream, we're going to keep things focused on the upcoming hackathon. It's really exciting, guys. It's going to be a hackathon that I've not really seen many entities or sort of companies in the ecosystem and beyond Polkadot also trying to do, which is there's a big problem in hackathons, which is the hackathon model, in other words, is pretty broken. I'd love to, by the way, you guys can share your thoughts in the chat, and I'll be happy to take some questions. But where I'm coming from to kick this off is that for the Web3 Summit Hackathon upcoming next month, we are doing things differently. We're trying to address the problem that at a hackathon, what you would build will probably be worth a prize at the end of the hackathon, but then once you receive the prize, nothing really happens after it. There's no support. There's no incentive or motivation to continue building your project. And you might have a really good idea, but you as a developer, you quickly will move on to something else if you don't have that support, right? So the Web3 Summit Hackathon is all about addressing the fact that a lot of projects are built during a hackathon, which have a lot of potential, but they aren't continued to be built. And so I'm gonna go through what this hackathon is about, how you can be successful in it, and how you can apply, and touch on the types of things we'd be looking for, as well as the partners that are involved currently in putting some exciting bounties. There's 30,000 currently in the prize pool. But let me take a step back. I want to take a step back and start with what is the Web3 Summit conference happening next month. I'm going to share my screen and see if that works out. Is that working? Just give me a second, friends. Give me a second. Okay. Cool. All right. That should do it. All right. So the Web3 Summit was actually launched in 2018. And in 2018, there's this iconic a presentation by Gavin Wood. And I share it because for me, this was a big introduction to what the Polkadot world looks like, where he actually unwrapped a brand new MacBook Pro and launched a substrate node in it. And I share this because for me, this is the poster child of why Web3 Summit is an iconic conference. And really, it's geared to bring together innovators in Web3. And I think that I would go even further than that. And it's really actually bringing together the core contributors of where we are today in Web3. So that means people researching cryptography back in the 90s, people looking at different governance systems in the early 2000s. Like we have the lineup of Web3 Summit is quite fantastic. I mean, so this year, if you check out the website, you can actually go down to the 2018 agenda that they had, and you can actually see Gavin's. I'm actually going to show it to you because I have it up here. So this is the video of Gavin Wood literally unwrapping a MacBook Pro, and while he's doing that, explaining substrate, okay, and he actually launches a substrate node in the audience. So I'm sharing with you this, guys, because it's like, why would you come as a hacker to this hackathon? One of the reasons is to join Web3 Summit, to actually participate in these talks and learn from the very best building in this space. And I generalize purposefully because it's not just Polkadot, right? It's all ecosystems. It is researchers and implementers coming together, sharing their ideas, sharing what they're working on. One of the kind of mottos of the Web3 Summit is no pitching and no bitching, right? It's all about really being there as people and connecting with what these cool ideas are. So I invite you to look at the lineup. But the Web3 Summit is happening in Berlin from July 16 to 18. There's a full agenda with the 3 days worth of talks and panels, and there's a very cool element of the Web3 Summit conference, which is the unconference conference model. I don't know if anyone is familiar in the audience, but this is a type of conference where you go with an intent to connect with people, to share your ideas, and to possibly do something with it after the conference. So the node space is actually where there is a bunch of different key ecosystem agents in Polkadot and outside of Polkadot that are focused on bringing together people around what they're building, what they're doing. And so this is where you want to be if you have a cool idea, you want to connect with another person. The Web3 Summit is packed in terms of the speakers coming and also attendees with key contributors to Web3 overall. So this is what this is the conference happening next month, and Web0 is organizing the hackathon alongside of it. So let's jump into that. If you go to the Luma page that we have, so that's lu.ma/blockspace synergy, you'll find all the details about the hackathon, and this is where you would sign up, right? So if you're planning to come as a hacker, please sign up here. Hackers also get free passes to the conference. So I'll say that again. If you plan to hack, apply, because you will get a free a pass to the conference. So now I'm gonna spend the next 10 minutes going through what the hackathon is about. Okay. I forgot to slip in that last year we also hosted the hackathon, and this year is slightly different. However, it's similar in the sense that what we're looking for is projects that are here to build for the long run. So projects that plan on continuing to build their submissions post hackathon. And I can quickly show you the different submissions we had from last year. If you go to our GitHub repository, you can find all of the submissions from last year. In fact, I put together this README where the winning projects actually had to make a PR to this repo with their updated the work that they did after the hackathon. They use this repo to submit the work that they did, and then upon approval, we disbursed the funds. So here, if you go to, okay, actually, I can go to this. It's a big JSON file, but if you give me a sec, I can find it easily. Yeah. So in this, you actually can see all of the different projects and what they built, and as well as their links to slides and everything. So at Web0, we really want to be a platform for teams to show what they're working on, and also for other people and teams to be inspired by the things that are coming out of these hackathons. So this is, if you go onto this GitHub link, so I can share in the chat, I think. You'll be able to see all of the past hackathons. We are actually working on a little app to be able to display this. So stay tuned on that. So yeah, here's the link. Okay, cool. If there's any questions, I'm here to answer questions. So please feel free to ask your questions in the chat. I'm checking out the chat. I'm monitoring the chat. So yeah, let me know. Yeah, so I went over kind of what the Web3 Summit is, what the spirit is at the Web3 Summit. It's really a place where people are coming together to share innovations in Web3, to share what they're working on. And I'm talking like, for example, we have a cryptographer professor from Carnegie Mellon. We last year had the creator of PGP. So this is the tone of this kind of event. And then I went over last year's hackathon that we did there, highlighting kind of what the projects were. So feel free to give a little gander around what those projects are, because it'll give you an idea of the things that we're looking for in the spirit of doing a hackathon for this kind of conference. And so what is that spirit, right? Like, how do we describe this? So the way I describe it personally is the types of things that like would be built during this hackathon are not going to be, just launch a dApp that uses a Solana smart contracts and make it work and launch to market with a cool idea and no. We're looking for things, for submissions that are thinking a little bit more outside the box of a specific tech stack. But at the same time, we're not imposing anything on this tech stack. We don't say, hey, you have to be building on Polkadot for your submission. Now, in this iteration, we're a little bit more precise on what we expect. There's basically going to be a main track whereby any team submitting to the main track is eligible for a $5,000 prize that they will get only $2,500, i.e. half of that prize, the day after the hackathon, i.e. upon winning. But then 2,500 is actually reserved for them to continue working on their second milestone. So in a lot of ways, this hackathon is kind of saying like, in order to submit your project, you actually need to submit somewhat of a grant proposal. Basically a proposal on, okay, this is what I built during the hackathon. We all know that in 3 days, you can only do so much. And then as part of the submission, to outline what you plan to build after the hackathon. And so the judges are going to be looking at that second part. So what is it you're going to build after the hackathon? In order to determine whether you're a winning team, they want to see that you have a vision for continuing to build your project. Because what we want to see simply is projects that are going to launch real products. And so the main track, now I'll go over the prizes. So the main track prize pool is $20,000 for projects that are going to be that are planning to continue working on their submissions post hackathon. There is one requirement though, because that money is actually from the Polkadot community, and we as the people that are trying to help push forward the Polkadot community really want to see projects building with Polkadot. So the only thing we require is that you must outline how your submission will be building on Polkadot post-hackathon. So in case that's not clear, what that means is when you submit something, if your submission to the main track, it could very well be building something on Solana, for example, or building something on another L2 chain. But you must at least outline how you plan on continuing to build this submission with integrating with Polkadot. So that's the only requirement. So hence this little asterisk here. But that being said, in addition to all of this, we are partnering with various tech stacks, so to speak, or SDKs that are putting their own bounties that you can accumulate on top of the main track. So what that looks like, for instance, is if, for example, you're looking to build a voting application, chain agnostic, it could be deployable on any blockchain. Well, great, that's a really solid main track submission. But however, if you want to be a little bit more ambitious in your bounty hunting, aspirations, well, you could accumulate the other partner bounties. So this is this point here that partner bounties are to be announced. But right now, I can actually share with you 2 partners that are confirmed, and those are Hyperbridge and Ink. So let's pause there. You got the main track, and then you've got partner bounties. As a hacker, as someone that is coming to this hackathon, you can submit to the main track and in addition, hunt other bounties. Now, it is in your interest of like kind of obviously to actually, use a partner bounty to include it in whatever you're building for the main track. So that's on the kind of the prize pool model. And now I want to note that we might be getting additional partners that will be increasing the pot. So that's very exciting. Now there's another little thing that I want to share and I'm really excited about. Okay, so we all know that at hackathons, a lot of people might feel intimidated because they're not technical or they don't have a good developer background or whatever. But we also all know that, at least those that kind of participate in hackathons and see the outcomes of hackathons, that a lot of like the core developer teams doing hackathons are really bad at marketing and are really bad at like, what's your product launch strategy? Like, how are you gonna onboard users? And so we've actually included an additional bounty just for marketing. Now, that means that if you want to come to this hackathon and just work on marketing, that's fine. That is totally fine. You don't need to actually submit to the main track. However, if you're a team of, say, 4 or 5 people, and 3 of you are really focused on getting the tech ready to submit to the main track, and 2 others are really, really enthusiastic about scoping out the marketing strategy of that product launch, well, you can accumulate both prizes. And if you would have won, say, the 5K in 2 disbursements, in addition to the marketing bounty prize. And yeah, maximum synergy. So I guess a little note on synergy. The whole hackathon theme is synergy. It's about finding synergy. What do we mean here? Well, as we all know, like Web3 is quite fragmented, right? It's fragmented in terms of developers. It's fragmented in terms of this tech is better than this tech. And we kind of want to break that mold, right? We want to see the participants of this hackathon come together, no matter what their developer background is, no matter what their expertise of ecosystems is, and find synergy. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully there's some of you watching that might want to ask some questions about that. But as I put it, I hope that makes sense. It's about finding synergy within Web3. We want to find real products, useful things. And those things today, I cannot be convinced that they only live on one tech stack, on one platform. Those things, the types of applications that can make a big impact in Web3, I strongly believe that they have to break the mold. They have to break out of the I'm just on one chain kind of thing. So we hope that you guys get a chance to think about what that could look like in terms of your submissions. Cool. Yeah. So I'll say this out loud. Like, don't ship it. Sorry, don't ship it. Ship it. Don't shelf it. Right. Build your prototype in 3 days. And what Web0 offers is mentorship support to help you reach your objectives for your next milestone. Our events are fun. Also, we like to have fun. By participating in this hackathon, you'll get to participate in like a bunch of like social activities. We will host a team formation and brainstorming support session. And yes, you get free access to the Web3 Summit. 24 access. Guys, 24 access at the Funkhaus in Berlin. It's kind of epic. It's kind of epic. I was there last year mentoring until 4 a.m. The lights were dim. There was like 3-4 teams still hacking there. And I gotta say, it's quite a vibe. It's quite a vibe. Anyone maybe in the chat watching right now came to the last Web3 Summit hackathon? Be curious to hear. But yeah, so this is what you can expect. Like, it is not just the hackathon where you kind of show up and there's like coffee served and only at 10 a.m. and then like you need to just power, like you're going to be in an event space where you can then go to some conference talks, come back and hack. There'll be some whiteboards where you can brainstorm ideas. Like, we're trying to make this as a comfortable a place as possible for people to come together and collaborate on ideas and ship them. Yeah, thank you. Someone in the chat said, ship it, don't shelf it. That's exactly it. So I went over the main track prize pool. I talked about the marketing bounty and that there's some partner bounties to be announced. Now, I also said that we have 2 amazing partners confirmed. So I'm going to just quickly go over what those are. So the first is Ink. So we want to be seeing a lot of people using Ink. And I'm not going to go into too much depth into this because on Friday, we're actually going to do a stream like this at 4 p.m. where we actually dive into the things that the team behind the Ink Alliance will want to see at the hackathon. But just to keep it simple, Ink is your go-to smart contracting language for anyone who's most familiar with Rust. In addition, for anyone who is looking to ship smart contracts to the Polkadot hub with full native cross-chain compatibility. So the Ink team is actually putting $10,000 in bounties. What we're looking at right now is their documentation site. So if I go start building, you guys will be able to see like a whole bunch of like getting started things in these docs. And again, like if your idea doesn't need Ink, fine. But if you're building something to the main track, and you could actually just build it with Ink smart contracts instead of, say, Solidity, well, you would be able to be eligible for Ink bounties plus main track bounties. So have a think of it, So Ink. Now the second is Hyperbridge. I'm very stoked to have Hyperbridge. Hyperbridge is, I think, is on the bleeding edge of trustless interoperability, and it's in everyone's hands. This is not one of these projects that is just on testnet, right? Like it is working. It is fully functional. They have their SDK available for developers. Let's actually have a look real quick. I love how their docs are so simple and like to the point. It's great. Yeah. So, but what is Hyperbridge, guys? Like Hyperbridge is basically interoperability across chains, like not just within Polkadot. It is allowing you to actually connect your smart contracts, say on Arbitrum or Base. There's a few that are integrated with Hyperbridge, and actually do some really cool cross-chain applications with smart contracts on, say, Polkadot or Ethereum, or depending on whatever your design is. And what they're looking for is actually using their SDK in the best way that shows innovating on storage proofs, on like actually doing things on the storage layers of the chains, right? Not just state of a smart contract, but like the storage changes and things like this. Again, on Friday, we'll have Sean come over and talk more about the Hyperbridge bounties and what they would expect. But right now, I just want to paint the picture that, again, you can have a really good idea for the main track, and in addition, actually submit to our partner bounties. So in this case, Hyperbridge, which would, it would, from a architecture perspective of your main track submission, might change what you're really doing, but it'll give you the opportunity to learn about this tech and also to integrate it into your projects in a meaningful way. Cool. Yeah, there's a point here. So yes, full IRL mentoring experience, mentoring by experienced DevRel. So during the whole 3 days, I wasn't kidding when I said last year I was there until 4 a.m. Like, I don't know if I'll be there until 4 a.m. for 3 days, but we are there to help you. The Web0 team is putting together a collective of mentors from different ecosystems and different partner projects to help you guys. And by help, I mean, we're going to be there to answer any questions. We're going to be there to help with your team formation, and also scope out your milestone 1 and milestone 2 plans. And we also will have a workshop about actually writing your submissions in terms of the milestone 2 outlines that you plan. So we're here to support you. You can expect that even if you're a complete newbie to Web3, even if you've like only ever, I don't know, like looked at, you know, I don't know, it could be you're a new developer, so it's your first time you're looking at a specific library, it's your first time you're kind of like working with Rust. Well, the Ink team will be there helping you with Rust stuff, right? The Hyperbridge team will help you think about your application architecture. We are like full on, like double downing on giving you the most support we can give you. So how it works. So we expect that you form some diverse teams. So by diverse teams, it really is just trying to invite hackers to not just like, there's no rule that you cannot hack solo. You're allowed to hack solo. That's fine. But I think I think that the teams, the strongest submissions will be ones that have a solid team ready to continue working on their project post hackathon. So we do encourage you guys to form teams. So the expectation is you build your prototype during the hackathon, and you submit your development and delivery plan for milestone 2. As I said, you will win if you win. If the judges choose you as a winner, $2,500 of your prize immediately. And then after the hackathon, that's when the fun starts, guys. And I just want to like be inclusive to the hackers, the teams that don't win. It's not like, oh, there's no more fun for you guys. Like, no, like hopefully you'll be building connections with mentors and other people that are interested in your projects, where you also can like make connections post hackathon. But we do kind of keep the focus to the 4 main winning teams in order to make sure that they have all the help that they need to ship their milestone 2 post hackathon. So yes, that's where the fun starts for me, because for instance, like it's very similar to seeing projects apply to a grant and then kind of helping them push through. Except here, you'll actually have a dedicated time slot in your calendars post hackathon, where Web0 will be helping connect you with the mentors that you need for your projects. So for instance, if your project uses Ink and you need a lot more help with integrating to the capabilities that your project could have with Ink experts will be there to help you, right? Our goal is ship it, don't shelf it. So then you will receive the remaining of your prize. Hopefully that makes sense. Please make sure that you ask any questions in the chat if there's anything unclear. But yeah. Yeah, so again, like the model is, we've got main track and then the partner bounties. For main track bounties, the post hackathon support is applicable. For everything that is partner bounties, it's up to the partners to specify what their requirements are. Right, so each will have their own prizes. You're free to accumulate by building projects that integrate all of them. But they're kind of in isolation, right? But at the same time, if you integrate a bounty and it's a big part of your main track submission, those the partners behind that bounty will be the ones helping you post hackathon. Cool. So now we get to the what to build. Yeah. So, like, what are some ideas in the chat? Like, what do you guys want to build? Like, what are the things that if you say, hey, like, I'm at a hackathon and I'm not required to build on any specific tech. However, if I'm submitting to the main track, I know that I'm eventually going to need to do some integration with Polkadot. What are the kinds of things you want to build? Remember, also, Polkadot is very multi-chain. It is very positioned to adapt to hosting applications that are multi-chain. Actually, I think Hyperbridge is the best example of that. Hyperbridge is literally a roll-up on Polkadot that services most of Web3 critical infrastructure stuff. By that I mean, some big players in Web3 that integrates with Hyperbridge. So some ideas here, just to kind of spark inspiration. interoperability and bridges, right? So like think about connecting ecosystems, enabling collaboration. I see a lot of times in the different initiatives I'm a part of, like grants or hackathon projects, submissions around collaborative, no, not collaborative, more open source work, right? Like getting paid for open source work. Well, you should like why don't we already have an app, a simple app that is completely cross-chain, hidden from the user, but the user just requires payment from wherever they prefer. This would be a cool idea, for example. A unified developer tool. So SDKs that work everywhere. One of the ideas that I've been cooking up is something along the lines of, it should be really easy for someone on Polkadot to integrate with all of the cool ZK libraries out there. Currently, that's not the case. Community infrastructure, right? So like things like DAOs and governments and coordination tools, things that are primarily built currently, like at least in the past, for single ecosystems. But do you see the gap, right? Not for every ecosystem. So like what we end up having right now is like a bunch of specific apps specific to each ecosystem. Like, let's change this, guys. Let's change this. Cross-chain DeFi, right? Like think similar. Yeah, so I think the idea I just mentioned about open source funding and stuff is pertinent to this. But specifically, like liquidity that flows between ecosystems. We should be able to have this. Let's build this at the Web3 Summit. Shared identity and privacy solutions. We would love to see privacy solutions. We would love to see some like legitimate, useful privacy-first solutions at this hackathon. And yeah, multi-ecosystem apps. I mean, this list here, guys, I just want to emphasize, this list is not specifically what we're looking for, but it's hopefully a little bit of inspiration for teams that are coming with maybe an existing idea or have no idea what they're doing. To address this, what we also are going to publish the day before the hackathon is an idea pool. There's going to be a whole bank of cool ideas that you can take on, and hopefully they at least serve as inspiration for good main track submissions. So yes, this section here is just to inspire. We will be publishing concrete ideas for hackers that might need inspiration the day of. I've actually organized hackathons where people really like that. They show up, they say, hey, what do I need to build? And then there's this idea pool bank, and they know exactly what to do. So hopefully that will be helpful for those of you who don't really know what they want to build. And this idea pool is actually heavily curated by some key ecosystem agents in the Polkadot community mainly, but for actually proposing things that we need, right? Like, I think this isn't always like, it's like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to build this, it'll be cool to build that. But at the end of the day, like we all know that there's some like fundamental things missing, like to make our lives easier working in Web3. So my hopes is that this idea pool will be things that you also resonate with in terms of their utility, and can actually be shipped into being useful things and things that are actually brought to market post-hackathon. So the next point here is, Have you ever been to a hackathon where like it's your first hackathon and then you feel it's just really unfair that someone else won and that person that won is like a serial hacker and it's their 10th hackathon? Right? It's actually not fun. It's actually also, from an organizer's perspective, it's kind of not being very inclusive to the different people in the room, right? So again, like we invite beginners, we invite people that are brand new to Web3, we invite non-developers, non-technical people. We're not doing this whole like, if you're not a developer, you won't get it kind of thing, right? So to ensure fair play, we actually reserve 2 of the winning seats of the 20K main track prize pool to beginners and 2 to more advanced developers. Now you might be thinking like, well, what's a beginner submission? What's a more advanced submission? Well, this is determined by when you apply to the hackathon. Actually, if you apply to this Luma page, you will be asked a bunch of questions, and that helps us determine kind of what the level is of the person applying, right? I want to make sure that if it's somebody who is like fresh out of high school, for example, and just curious about building something in Web3, that they have an equal chance to the prize pool than somebody who's been working in Web3 for 5+ years. So yes, ensuring fair play. We will be splitting this main track pool to reserve 2 seats to beginner hackers and 2 seats to more advanced hackers. And this will be to the discretion of the judges when you submit. Okay, we can actually look at these pictures of last year. This was the main event room. So it's hosted at the Funkhaus in Berlin. Funkhaus has a very interesting history, guys. It was the headquarters of East German propaganda during the Soviet rule. And so it's this very epic building with high ceilings, long curtains, beautiful ballroom wooden floors. And here's some other pictures. And that was the picture after we announced all the winners last year. So it was great. Actually, we had some people from Solana, we had some people from Rootstock, from Seer Network. I can see someone from Just Open Source. We also had judges all over the board, Hackin, IPFS Protocol Labs, and honestly, it was so cool. It was a really cool 3-day experience. Yeah, and so to finish off on the hackathon, what we are looking for, how to apply, what you can expect, head to this Luma page. Head to this Luma page and scroll down to the FAQ. We will be adding more. I just shared it in the chat. We will be adding more questions that come up and answers. But for example, here are a few. So yeah, who can participate? It's anyone in Web3, all areas of expertise. That includes marketers, designers, UX, product, non-technical roles. And half of the prize pool is reserved for beginner teams, and the other half for advanced teams. So we talked about this should be clear for people watching right now, but people watching again, just check the FAQ, the prize categories. Yeah, what should you build? I think this is an important one to emphasize. So we want you guys to think Web3, right? Like big picture. So focus on connecting ecosystems, interoperability tools, cross-chain DeFi, unified developer tools, or multi-ecosystem apps. If you're looking for inspiration, we will have ideas in the idea pool just before the hackathon launches. What's included? 24/7 food and drinks, mentoring from sponsored DevRels, and team formation help. There will be entertainment. We might get the Mario Kart out. We usually always have Mario Kart at Web0 events, so it would be surprising if we don't have it. And yeah, there'll be a bunch of networking events for you to connect with the people at the hackathon. And so, do you need a team? No, you don't need a team. But if you, in your application to the hackathon, and if you indicate that you're looking for a team, we will help you find a team. We will help you find the types of roles that you're looking for to build what you want to build. So that's kind of a wrap up. Let's see. Yeah, so those that didn't see the link, it's Luma/Blockspace Synergy to check out and sign up. So let's see if we have any questions. Scholarships. We are giving out scholarships to some students and blockchain clubs across the country. So that's also a very exciting opportunity. If you're a student, we have scholarships. We want you here. We believe that we want, the fresh blood in Web3. This hackathon is about inviting people that are curious about building things to build things. So yes, stay tuned for scholarships. And if there's no questions, I'll slowly wrap up. So what I want to wrap up with is, this is our first live stream at Web0, and we plan to do a lot more. We plan to showcase the different projects that win at the hackathons. We plan to use this platform to have teams give their updates on their milestone 2 progress. And if you're interested in showcasing something on this platform, i.e. show me what you built, reach out to me. You can find me on Twitter, on X, or you can find me on Telegram. I would love to facilitate that. But this Friday, we will be having Ink and Hyperbridge talk about what they're kind of looking for the hackathon. So stay tuned about the calendar invite for that. I think it'll just be published on X, and make sure that you save it. But put it already in your calendars now, at 4 p.m. on Friday, 4 p.m. Berlin time, CEST. And I can't wait to see you there.